Hi everybody. This is probably the 20th time I've tried to create this video, but we're going to try one more time. So I wanted to do a very quick follow-up video, and I have my Brooklyn Tweed Peary shade card out, and I wanted to show you that I got a little excited last night because I was struggling to try to see how to work with this color collection, and I was finding that the typical gradient that you could get with Shetland wool was not really available from this line, but I really like the line because it's soft, fingering weight, and you get quite a few shades within a grouping of colors. So these are the yellow tones, for example, but no real clear light, medium, dark gradient is showing up here. But thankfully I rediscovered this book on my bookshelf, and the colors here do not follow a clear gradient, but yet they almost mirror perfectly the colors that are available from this line. So I felt like I became unstuck and I had a way to move forward, and I thought I would just share. And it just goes to show you that light, medium, dark gradients aren't the only way to move forward with choosing colors to create a color palette for your Fair Isle knitting project. And I'll just quickly show you a little bit more from the palette of the yarn, and then talk a little bit more about this project here. Here's the colors here that are, you can really see, are really close, and then the other colors that work really well from this shade card are these colors here. So some of the colors that I've already acquired from these reddish browns, those are going to work out perfectly. And just the last video I said that this kettle color was black. It's a deep dark chocolate brown. The black that they have is this color here. Let's see, it's called Porter, I think. I have it upside down here. So anyways, I think I am going to go ahead and order 3 more colors from this palette. This line of colors here that you can choose from, and then work towards creating a palette of colors that looks similar to what was done here. And after studying this for quite some time, it was so interesting studying how the colors were used in this garment. And even though people may not find the garment itself to be something they want to knit today because vests have really gone out of style, I personally have remained a fan of vests because where I live you don't need a full sweater. And I just thought I would show you this main page because the photographer really creates a great way to capture perhaps what the designer's inspiration was for developing this palette. When you see the gorgeous fall leaves that are all yellow here, you start realizing how the color story was developed by the designer. I'm almost positive that's what she had in mind when she developed her palette and when she was working with the photographer on the photo shoot for this collection. So just wanted to show you this page here, and then go back to this page here and backtrack a little bit in talking to you about this. I took this story on how to choose colors, sorry, not story, I took this class on how to choose colors for your knitting, which is something I realized I needed to get a whole lot better at. And in this private class I took, the instructor taught me that a lot of these palette colors, if you're a watercolor artist or an acrylic artist, you're always working from a palette of colors, a series of 9 or 12 colors that you're limiting your composition to, a specific palette of colors. You're trying to work out different things like color harmony, using color theory to work out color harmony, all of those technical aspects of color. That's what I kept gravitating towards, and the instructor reminded me that that is not how the Shetland knitters created their color story. When they were creating their color story, they were merely just looking at the landscape that was in front of them and interpreting that into the finished palette of colors that they chose for their knitting. And of course, in the early days, they didn't have the range of colors that we have access to now, just the natural sheep wool colors, and then over time, gradually more and more colors were introduced. But I think the spirit in which they designed is the spirit in which this design was developed. And it is very much a landscape palette. And when you see the yellow, you see a landscape flooded with yellow light. And then this section here, the area here, would be the horizon line on that landscape. So oftentimes, if you're photographing a landscape scene, the horizon line often does look like a bright shot of white light there. So I think that's what I'm seeing here. Maybe what the designer had in mind was this flooding of yellow light from the fall natural scenery, and then this shot of white light through the landscape. And then when I look at the main motifs, what I'm really seeing is faded sunflowers, really. Other people might see other flowers, but that's the flower to me that is so symbolic of the fall, and it really does seem to be all those tiny little petals here that have really faded in the sun. It has those burnt reddish brown colors that I just fell in love with, that I thought I really wanted to work with. And the other thing that I really started thinking about the more time I spent studying what was done here, sorry, there's construction noise there. What I started thinking is that with these border prints, Marie Walland seems to follow this same approach to her design work. You have these major border areas here, and then these Peary rows. All of that is traditional and classic to Shetland knitting. But what I've noticed here is that these Peary rows are really more impressions of color. The contrast is very, very low, and so you get this dappled light effect that is so cool when you're walking through a beautiful, intense park scene where you've got all this intense color that your mind doesn't pick up on all the details. And so this, again, these Peary rows with this impression of color really seems to be the background. And then you have these dramatic impressions of contrast between these dappled light colors here. And it just really is an amazing thing that all kind of comes together in this knitting. This is, I think, what provides me with this endless fascination with this art form. And I don't know, I guess that's the best way I can put into words what I've learned and how this journey has led to getting some more insights that maybe I wouldn't have acquired if I was just following a pattern and just following the colors that someone else told me that I should use. Just really studying this helps me understand all the thought that goes into how those colors are chosen and how those colors are used to interpret these charted designs, because the charted designs very much go hand in hand with the colors that are chosen for them, and how all of the colors and the charted designs end up creating this beautiful, beautiful story of colors, or color story. So I just thought I kind of thought I would share that and share my thoughts and kind of let you know where I'm proceeding and how things are coming along. And perhaps the next time I share a video, I'll be able to show you some swatched yarn samples with some of this Brooklyn Tweed yarn, and I'll update everybody. And if I have some successful results, I'll share those. So anyways, I'll leave for now, and I'll see you guys next time.